So what does it mean when a planet is combust in astrology? What is the true definition of that? Well, if this is a zodiac sign which is 30 degrees long, so each zodiac sign in the sky, which are 12 degrees, 12 zodiac signs, each of them is 30 degrees long. So this is why 30 times 12 is 360 degree of the entire sky. So let's say if we have Sun at 15 degrees of Aries, okay? So when a planet, you know how planet they become conjunct in the same house, two planets, there might be 4 planets in the same sign in people's birth chart. So for example, if let's say we take Mercury. If Mercury, all the planets are moving, when Mercury comes close enough to Sun, it loses all its power. In philosophical and mythological terms, it's losing all of its positive quality in your chart. Okay, and of course it could be on many other people's chart who are, born during that time, because Saturn's and Mercury degrees are very close to each other. However, my theory is a bit different from what the regular combustion is, because even in ancient text it is said that each planet is combust at a certain degree. Not all of them are combust at a certain degree, okay? And this is for example, like Jupiter is combust at 15 degrees, Mars is combust at 11 degrees, Venus is combust at 8 degrees, Mercury is combust at within 10 degrees, Saturn is combust within 14 degrees of the Sun, Moon is combust within I believe 7 to 8 degrees within the Sun, which destroys all of its positive power. However, I did not see that in my own studies and experiment in the past 10 years. And this is my own opinion and perspective on this. Although these ancient texts are there and you should study them, however, in my studies, the only time the quality of such planet was being destroyed when it was in combustion with the Sun is when it was within 6.20 degrees of the Sun. Okay, so if here's the Sun, here's Mercury, maybe at 10 or 12 degrees, and according to some ancient text it's supposed to be combust. However, in my studies, when it was all the way to 6.20 degrees, it was combust. Okay, so this is what I saw in my studies, that most people who, because how I saw this, because first I was going by the ancient rules, like, oh, this must be combust. So, if your Venus is at 8 degrees, oh, it's combust. And when I found out, no, it wasn't combust. The Venus was actually okay and fine, even though other things were happening with Sun and Venus conjunction in the same house. However, the combustion, the energy of Venus was not being destroyed. So, that being said, I'm going to talk about what each planet does when it comes within 6.20 degrees of the Sun. And this is not like a new series that I'm going to do, that when a moon is combust, what happens, when a Mercury is combust, what happens. This can be defined in one video, because all the planets lose their positive quality. So in this one video, I will discuss what happens when each planet comes within 6.20 degrees of the Sun. Now, you don't have to follow this. If you see in your own studies that, oh, it's actually at 7.31 degrees, not, hey, I'm open to that, I'm cool with that. This is only my study, so remember. But I'm not going to go by those ancient degrees, because for me it didn't work. That's just me. So what happens when our first planet, Mercury, comes within 6.20 degrees of the Sun? Well, this creates a lot of confusion in decision making. All the qualities of Mercury that are positive, which is logical thinking, which is quick decision making, which is comprehending things, it becomes slow. A person, in a way, the mind, their intelligence becomes lethargic. It becomes lazy. So that's Sun and Mercury. But remember, There's a yoga called Buddha Aditya Yoga, meaning Sun, Aditya, and Buddha, Mercury. When they come into one house, it makes a very powerful yoga, especially in Kendra. It's a very powerful political yoga and very powerful business yoga. But this yoga, if it is happening within 6.20 degrees, yeah, it is losing its power. So just remember that, okay? But it's my opinion, because if you want to go by those, ancient numbers, you're obviously feel free to do that. No need to follow this. But next planet, what happens when moon comes in within those defined degrees of the sun? Well, the moon is your emotions. Moon is your mind. So your mind becomes very much, I won't say destroyed, but it becomes very much darkened by the eclipse of the sun. There's a lot of depression. There is a lot of mental agony within a person. This person is also could be very, very angry, prone type of person. Or it could be the opposite. It could be somebody who just doesn't have any energy within their mindset. Because when moon, the mind comes into something so hot and, something like the sun, the mind becomes hot. And I've seen this where these two planets conjunction within those 6 degrees when the moon is combust, especially in the ascendant or the 12th and second house, give person a lot of anger problems. This also ruins relationship with the mother and father both, especially in certain houses, especially like Dushanta houses. Why? Because sun is your father, moon is your mother. And father and mother, when the sun and moon come so close into the degrees, they both cancel each other energy out. Why? Because the moon is getting burned by the sun's energy, and sun's water energy, the cooling water energy, is creating the steam in the sun. So sun is also now losing its power, its heat that it's supposed to represent. So the mind becomes very dull. The lack of energy is there within a person. What happens when Venus comes into contact with sun? Venus is what? Your signifactor of your wife, signifactor of your marriage, signifactor of your luxurious life, signifactor of arts and creativity, signifactor of all the finest things in life, including your vehicles and home. So those things pretty much gets evaporated when it comes to that close to the sun. People always, this is the most strongest indication when Venus is combust is of getting a divorce and a marriage. Especially people could get 2 or 3 divorces. I've seen that. What happens when Mars is combust in your horoscope? Well, what is Mars? Mars is your willpower. Mars is your ability, your energy to go out and fight for things. Mars also is your controlled self. And when it's in a negative position, your anger comes forth very quickly in front of you. Mars is also your brothers, your male friends in your life. So when Mars is combust, you lose your motivation in life. You are you are actually physically lethargic. You become lazy because your willpower is no longer there. You're not able to take a task and finish it because you just get scared. You get fear in yourself that it's not gonna happen, something's gonna go wrong. And people who have willpower, they said nothing's gonna go wrong. Even if it does, I'm gonna go achieve it. So this is what happens when Mars is so close to the sun. And remember, at 6.20 degrees, the combustion starts in my case, okay? And more it gets closer, the severe it is. But if it's at 6.20, yes, it's starting to, like the planet is now starting to burn and it's evaporating slowly, but it's not totally evaporated. So remember that too. What happens when Jupiter is combust? Well, what is Jupiter? Jupiter is a signifactor of your savings, your family, your speaking ability, your children, your education. God, I think my Jupiter is combust. And your incoming gains. Jupiter is a signifactor of the 2nd, 5th, 9th, and 11th house in a horoscope. So when you lose the most vital part of your life, things become very hard for people. They're not able to sustain savings. They're not able to get enough out of, they're not able to reap enough results of their fruit. And what happens, and also, it also makes you suffer in studies. The concentration in studies is gone when Jupiter is combust with the sun. Saturn, when Saturn is combust with the sun, a lot of problems in career. Okay, these people are always in and out of jobs. These people also have health problems as in bones. So your bones get affected because Saturn represents your bones. So these people have a lot of joint problems at an early age. Okay, and then you are not able to get along with your uncles. You're not able to, so these are the family members, your boss. You always get into tangles and fights with bosses because of the fact you're running into the wrong bosses in your life. Now you must be thinking, when Rahu and Ketu, the north and south node of the moon, come in contact with the sun, oh, sun must destroy them. No, that's actually the opposite of what happens. It's the sun that loses the power in this case. So when Rahu and sun come within 6.20 degrees, it eclipses the sun. When south node comes into 6.20 degrees with the sun, Ketu eclipses the sun, so the sun loses all his power. However, this phenomenon happens actually far further than just 6.20 degrees. It's actually my own study. I've seen within 15 degrees, these two planets, Rahu starts eclipsing the sun. So if this is Rahu and sun by, let's say, 20 degrees, by 15 degrees, Rahu is right there. So it starts the eclipse process. And all the way up to the 0 or 1 degree, it has eclipsed the sun. And don't think that just because a negative planet in your horoscope is combust, that sun is actually protecting you from its negative aspects. That's not the case, because then the negative aspects of that planet become severe, because planet loses the positive quality. So even if you have an evil planet of the Dushanta houses, 6th, 8th, and 12th house planet, if they are combust, that means whatever positive energy they were supposed to provide you, they have all lost that as well. So guys, this is what happens when, planet is combust in a horoscope. Now, what is a way to get out of it? Well, watch my remedies video. Watch my astrology remedies video, which I'll probably put at the end of the video so you can look at it. And I have seen, the reason why I even promote that thing, because I have seen the changes in other people's lives, even when their planet was combust. That when they did those things, and which has nothing to do with wearing gemstones, nothing to do with donating things, nothing to do with doing some mantra, because none of these things are working. You're just going to damage yourself more because you're activating those energies that are there to teach you lessons. I'm telling you, do not go to the gatekeeper, go to the source. Do not go try getting your way in through the bouncer at the club. He's not going to get you in. You got to call the club owner that, hey man, I'm here, let me in. And then he'll tell the bouncer, hey, move, let this guy in. That's what it means. So go watch that remedies video. Otherwise, if you're new to my channel, subscribe above, because hey, you just found the most valuable information. And if you want to learn more about astrology, check out my link below at my website, and also my book, Astrology at the Speed of Light, will totally enlighten you on astrology. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow with new and more exciting videos. Bye-bye.